everyone, welcome back to Discover the OC. I'm Jules Wilson, your host and lifestyle realtor here at Seven Gables Real Estate. Well, I'm so excited to have Alan Zall, probate and real estate attorney, back on with me today. So good to have you, Alan.
That's great to be on.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, Alan, listen, as a realtor, disclosure laws are so important, right? And
Yes.
we have to explain these things to our sellers when they're filling out the disclosure statements. But it seems like things are always changing and we need to keep up to date. Of course, we're big on education here at Seven Gables Real Estate, but it's good for sellers to know too, or buyers to know what they're looking for. So why don't you tell us about maybe some changes that might be coming up? I think you said in June or July of this year, is that right?
It's correct. First of all, let me explain on when you sell a residential property, there's a lot of requirements for disclosure. You have to tell about the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, different appliances
Whatever
in
the
house.
seller might know, whatever they might know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whatever information they have,
Right.
they need to disclose it.
Sure.
Because the thinking is you need to tell, as a general rule, anything that is material and could affect the value
Sure.
or the desirability of the property. Now they are going to include additional requirements. This will be effective.
So this is the state you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be July 1, 24. There will be additional requirements through legislation, and they will have to disclose now if they've done
You're talking about the sellers?
Correct.
Okay.
Any recent repairs, any recent renovations that they did, in addition to what was already required.
Okay.
And there's an 18-month time period, going back 18 months. And I
Okay.
think the thinking is they are wanting the buyer to be aware if it was a situation where the person bought the property, you know, fixed it up, and
Right.
then maybe in essence is trying to flip it
Of course.
relatively quickly.
Right.
So they will have to take 18 months
Okay, prior to.
from the date that the title of the property was transferred.
Okay.
So that's the key time frame.
Okay.
But like you said, it's a very good idea to even do that now,
Right.
prior to the mandate, because what you do not want to have happen is someone to come back later and say, we want to rescind the sale, or we're going to litigate for damages
Yeah.
because you didn't give me the information
Yeah.
that I needed. And if I knew that information, I wouldn't have bought the
Yeah,
property.
perhaps. Well, you said something about repairs over $500 or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah, there was a thing on that if the labor and materials were more than $500, the seller would give the name and contact information
Of who
of
did
the
the work.
contractor.
Okay.
Whoever did the work on that property.
So that's part of this new rule?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Part of the
interesting.
new one.
Okay.
And it's broad in terms of structural modifications,
Right.
Repairs. Also, they have to give copies of permits.
Yeah, well, I was
Let's
always...
say they added and they got a room
Of
and they got
course.
a new permit.
Of course, just, yeah, show the permits. Well, one thing I've learned as a realtor in here at Seven Gables, disclose, disclose, disclose. When in doubt, just disclose it, right? More is always better, right?
Definitely,
Yeah.
because you don't want the risk of getting yourself into difficulty when you could have definitely prevented it.
Right.
And the key is always prevention.
Yeah.
Because litigation is very time consuming, very expensive, and business people want to run their business. They don't want
course.
to spend
Yeah.
time in court.
And I don't want any of my clients stressing out. Okay, now there's some things you had mentioned earlier also about that we don't have to disclose.
Yes, there's examples of some things that you should not disclose. That would be an example of if it was a haunted house or you believe it's haunted. You're not required to disclose that. So you have a pass in that case.
What about if the client's a little haunted? Do we have to disclose that?
Well, that I haven't checked. I'll have to check the new statute and see if they put in verbiage relating to the client.
Yeah, the clients, some are crazy, let's face it, myself included. Okay, so what about, I know we have to disclose if someone passed away in the home 3 years prior.
Yes.
But what about illnesses? Do we have to disclose everything on that?
If it was more than 3 years, then you're not required to disclose it. Also, anyone who lives on the property, if they have HIV or AIDS, do not disclose that.
Oh.
The most things you do have to disclose, but there's a limited number of things, Jules, that you do not have to disclose.
Like the HIV and AIDS, is respecting someone's privacy on
Correct.
health. Okay, got it.
So
okay,
that
I
do
didn't know
not
that either.
disclose.
Okay.
And then otherwise, if it's not one of these few that you shouldn't disclose, definitely disclose it.
Yeah.
Because you never know what someone might consider
Right.
as material.
Right.
Like, for example, some examples of now what people do need to disclose is if you have a barking dog that says keeping the person up all night, that would be one.
Like a neighbor.
Right.
Yes.
Or let's say you're right next to the freeway.
Yep.
And there's a tremendous amount of noise.
Right.
That would be a good idea to disclose that information.
Right.
Or I guess other information that's currently required is under Megan's Law.
Oh, yeah.
That's required.
Right.
Then we have the natural hazard
Right.
statement, which is
course.
required.
Yes.
So we have a lot of disclosures currently in place because the thinking is to give the buyer all the necessary information
Sure.
so that they're not surprised after they take title
Right.
to the property.
Right. Well, when I talk to my sellers, I want you to get your the contract and the sale closed and be on your way and be happy and don't look back. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
and
yeah.
the other thing is, I think is a good thing, is that the agent or real estate broker that's involved in the transaction really needs to ask a lot of detailed questions.
Right.
So that they do get all the information, because it's possible that a seller, not intentionally, but forgets to disclose
don't
something
think
they
about it.
should have, and they
Right.
have not thought of it.
Right.
Maybe there was an issue, 3 years ago or 5 years ago, and they didn't fix it.
Right.
But they forgot about it.
Right.
And then this is an item that could be a major thing.
Yeah.
It could be a foundation issue. It
Yeah.
could be a roof.
So ask a lot of questions, plain
Always.
and simple.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah.
Ask, and when they give you an answer, if it's not thorough, ask further questions.
Yeah. Well, attorneys,
Like an investigative reporter. almost.
attorneys are good at that.
Right, or investigative reporters
Exactly.
kind of approach, always though in a polite and friendly way, but get all the information that you need to get so that you're protecting the client
Right.
and the agent and or broker.
And we want the buyers, the new owners, to be happy and be comfortable and feel like they know what they bought. So
Exactly.
that's good too, yeah. Well, Alan, thank you so much. You're always a wealth of information. Now, Alan, once again, you do so much to serve the community. You don't have to be on today, so I really appreciate you taking the time. Alan takes a lot of time to come out to try to bring value and really help us. Because real estate is complex, but we appreciate your time. So how can people get a hold of you if you need a good probate attorney or real estate attorney, Alan?
Yes, they can call me on my cell phone, 714-731-4811, or my email is Alan, A-L-A-N, S.Zall @yahoo.com. And I would really like to thank you, Jules, for doing this and informing the people in the community.
Yeah.
Because education is always great.
So true.
And I know that Jules subscribes to a mantra that I like, which is good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much for watching. And once again, whether you're looking to purchase or sell real estate, my partner Dylan Wilson and I are always ready to serve you. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming on today, Alan.
Thank you.